Someone wanted to say hi. Hi, hi. This is Kabuto. Okay, ow. That did not go well. Hello, welcome back. Thank you so much for joining me in today's video. I am excited, as I always am, because I am testing out something new from Rani Cosmetics. This is the brand new release, the Shattered Gems eyeshadow palette. I mean, let's take a second. Appreciate the gorgeousness that is this packaging. It's really, really pretty. And then, let's look at the inside. Yes, oh my goodness. This is so unique and not necessarily what I would normally find myself drawn to, but in a weird way, I am super drawn to this. Like, I'm really, really drawn to it. It looks so, so gorgeous. So this is gonna be the first time that I'm actually trying anything from Rani Cosmetics. Rani Cosmetics, if you don't know, was started by Ishani, also known as Total Makeup Junkie 101, so it's another influencer brand. This is the first eyeshadow palette that Rani has released, and so I'm really excited to give this a try, to see what I think, and to let you guys know what I think. So let's just go ahead and get started and put this on my eye and just start playing with the gorgeousness that is this palette. Yes, let's go. So I am zoomed in. I already went ahead and primed my lids using my MAC Pro Longwear paint pot. I use the color Soft Ochre. So I'm ready to get started and to hop into this palette here. Yes, okay. So this palette comes with 12 shades and there are 3 different finishes in the palette. There is a shimmer, there is a matte, and then there is a special formula called the Diamond Formula. Now, looking at this, it is a pretty overall cool toned palette, which I never really thought was my thing, but recently I've kind of been enjoying playing with some cooler tone palettes, especially the Balm Iced Tea palette. I was actually really into that one. So I'm kind of excited. I am a little, I'm just wondering what I want to do with the look today. I still just feel kind of like, I don't know. I don't know exactly where to go. I think there's a lot of different directions that I could take this. I did watch Ishani's reveal video talking about this palette, and she kind of talked about how she set them up in kind of 3 color families going down the columns of this way. And I definitely see that, and I see how that could work. However, I think I want to kind of mix it up and try something a little bit different. Although I have learned, hopefully, from my mistakes, and if you saw my video where I tested out the new Reina del Caribe palette, I was so focused on trying all of the colors and getting as many of those on my lids as I possibly could, that I think I sort of went to the more of like, let's play and try all realm, as opposed to do something that was like wearable and actually like a cohesive look. You know what I'm saying? It was good. Not that I disliked the look. I definitely thought it was pretty. But I think I got a little too focused on let's try everything and not really so focused on creating something cohesive and wearable. So I'm going to try to rein it in, even though there's a lot of gorgeous colors here. I'm going to rein it in and try to not do that. So I'm going to start, as I like to do with any cool tone look, with this Topaz matte shade. I think with my personal skin tone, a warm tone directly next to my skin looks better as like a base for a cool tone, which is why I was so excited to see this matte topaz shade in here. I think this will create a great base to kind of layer these other colors. So I'm going to take this on a fluffy blending brush and just start putting this into the crease and on my brow bone. Wow, that is a very, very, very pigmented shade. Wow. So I have just like with the lightest hand just gone in and like tapped this color on, and there is so much color payoff. I haven't started blending or anything. Wow. It is a very soft shadow. I can kind of tell by the way it's like pressed into the pan, and also just when I tap my brush into it very lightly, there is a fair bit of kick up, which I don't personally mind. I actually prefer having a more pigmented shadow right off the bat that you can then blend out, as opposed to having one that needs a little bit of building up to get the full color payoff. So far so good. I am liking this, and it's literally been just 10 seconds. Okay, let's just keep going with it. I'm now going to start trying to just like build up the color and blend it out a little bit once I have this shape down, which I kind of like. I like this shape. Again, I'm always going to try to do a different shape, and then it never works out. I'm now just taking a clean, fluffy brush just to make sure that the edges are super, super well blended, because there's not like a light cream color in this palette like I would normally use to blend out the edges. So I'm just taking a clean brush to kind of accomplish the same task. So that has gone on so well. I kind of really, really love this topaz shade. It's beautiful. Now, I think I'm going to try to just deepen up the crease a little bit, and I'm going to go with a pointed blending brush, and I'm going to go into kind of a grayish shade, gray, brown, grayish shade called Platinum, just to deepen up the crease a little bit. So I like this color, but it just feels like it's a little bit patchy. I don't know. Maybe it's just not blending well over the top of that topaz shade. I just feel like kind of like right here, and then also sort of through the crease, it's just lacking a little bit of pigmentation. It's not going on quite as easily as that topaz shade. Well, there it goes. Okay, it just takes a little bit extra building. Because the topaz, you hardly had to tap into that shade at all, and it was just like immediately full pigmentation. This one takes a little bit of building. It also could be the fact that I am applying this shade on top of an already dry powder shadow, as opposed to the topaz shade, which I put on directly over my like tacky eyeshadow base. So, you know, that probably has a little something to do with it. So now I'm taking a little bit more of that topaz shade back on the original brush and just going over the edges of Platinum to make sure that the two shades are blended together. It took a little while to build up the color in Platinum, but now that I've got it, I think it looks pretty good. I don't notice any patchiness or anything, so it blended out really, really well. I'm not sure which dark shade I want to use yet in this palette, so I'm gonna kind of break my normal way of like doing my makeup, and I'm going to go into the shimmer shade first and then use like a darker outer crease color. So I'm going to take some glitter glue, and I'm now going to take my finger and I'm going to go into this purple shimmer shade called Amethyst. Oh, that's really gorgeous. I love purple eyeshadows. I really, really do. It's going on so nicely. It's really smooth. I'm now gonna take a small flat brush, go into Amethyst just to clean up the edges a little bit. Well, that went on so nicely. It's pretty. It's not overly sparkly like some metallic shades can be, but it does have this really gorgeous, just kind of like, it has like a little bit of sheen to it. It looks like it's kind of just like glowing from within, which is quite gorgeous and very unique. I think I decided I am going to go into Onyx, possibly mixing a little bit of lapis in there if I want like a little more blue, but I think I'm just going to try to keep it kind of gray in the outer corner. So I'm going to take a very small pointed little detail brush and go into the dark gray shade called Onyx. I think I'm actually happy with just using this Onyx shade. Yes, it's a very dark gray, but it had so gray that it almost has like a little bit of a blue undertone in it. So I don't think I need to go into lapis. I think it's good with just Onyx. But let me blend this out. It's gonna need some blending, that's for sure. Then going back into Platinum, using that to blend out and deepen up the crease. Finally, I went back in with the large fluffy brush just to soften up all the edges and blend it all one final time. I am now taking a makeup wipe and just cleaning up the edges and any fallout, all that jazz. So yeah, this is what I got going on so far. It is a lot darker than I think I was anticipating or wanting to necessarily go with this look, but I do like it. I am going to go ahead and finish up the rest of my face because that will help pull it all together and make it not look so, yeah. It'll look better once I finish everything else. So I'm gonna go do that and then I will be back. While I'm gone, let's go ahead and take a closer look at the palette as well as some swatches. Shattered Gems encompasses many colors from a small slice of this beautiful earth, comprised of 6 mattes, 3 metallics, and 3 diamond finish eyeshadows. This palette can elevate your look to new colorful heights, just like wearing a perfectly polished gemstone. Shades included in the palette are Moonstone, a metallic, Platinum, matte, diamond finish, topaz, a matte, aquamarine, matte, jade, a matte, garnet, diamond finish, hematite, metallic, peridot, diamond finish, amethyst, metallic, onyx, matte, and lapis, a matte. Okay, I'm back. This went a whole different direction with the lipstick. Yeah. I was trying out some more of the Rani products. I started out by going in with a Lunar, which is this like dark purple metallic lipstick. I mean, wow, that's really, really gorgeous. But it was not for me. Yeah. Oh, great. I got it on my sweater. So then I went over with Latte, which is an actual like lipstick, just kind of brown with a little bit of purple in it. It's pretty. I like that. I like this one a lot. And then I went with Shy, which is the dark brown to kind of like, I don't know, deepen up Latte a little bit. I think if I just with Latte, it would have been fine, but I think adding the Shy made it really dark. Which I don't know how I feel about this super dark lip and the super dark eye. It might be a lot, but that's okay. We're here, we did it, we tried out new stuff, and let's just forget about this. And let's focus on the eyes. So I really, really, really love how the eyes turned out today. I think that this Shattered Gems palette is really, really gorgeous. So let me just talk you through really quickly what I did on the lower lash line. I started out by smudging just a little bit of topaz underneath the lower lash line and then went on top of that and blended it out with Platinum. I then went into Moonstone, which is this really, really beautiful kind of iridescent purple shade. It is gorgeous. I love Moonstone so much. And I took that on like a really small little detailed brush, put that all on the inner corner and then drug it into that amethyst shade a little bit. And then I did want to play with one of the diamond shades in this palette. So I went in with, this is Diamond. I just took a very little brush and just hit the like innermost corner. Like if I took Moonstone and kind of like this whole general area of the inner corner and drug it onto the eyelid, I took Diamond and just put it right on the inner corner and underneath the lash line a little bit. I then just hit a little bit of black liner and mascara, and that was it for the look. I do think that the shadows performed really, really nicely. Now I will insert a picture over here of a different look I did the other day using a lot more of the blue shades in this palette, like Aquamarine, Jade, Peridot, Lapis. I do think it actually turned out really well as well. In general, I don't have an issue with these shadows. I think they all work really, really well. So let's start with the mattes. I really like the matte formula. I have to say it is very soft, which translates to being very pigmented right off the bat, which is my personal favorite style for a shadow. If it's going to be a matte, I want it to be very pigmented, you know, right off the bat, lots of color payoff, and you know, if that means that it's going to be a little more powdery, I'm okay with that. I really like going in with a lot of color right away and then blending it out, because you can barely see the topaz that I put on here because I just kept blending and blending and blending. But I still feel like you can feel its warmth and you can kind of it adds a little bit of extra dimension to the undertone of this look that I like. I was having a little bit of trouble with platinum right off the bat, but I have to say that didn't last that long. Once I just kept working with it, it was fine. I had no issues getting platinum to blend, and I think it's really, really gorgeous. So now the shimmers. There are 3 shimmers in this palette: Moonstone, Amethyst, and Hematite. Now, these are really gorgeous. They're not exactly what I would expect for a shimmer because they're a lot more, they actually remind me of like the MAC pigments. In a way, if you've ever used a MAC pigment, not the glitter, but the MAC, and not the matte pigments, but the MAC metallic pigments, when you mix them with like your mixing medium, like a little setting spray or a little water or what have you, and the way that they go on kind of just like a really kind of, not pasty, but like that just kind of, it gives that little bit of metallic shimmer without being like super glittery or glimmery. That's how kind of I would describe the difference between the diamond finishes in this palette as opposed to the metallic finishes. So usually when you think of a metallic finish in a palette, it's kind of more shimmery, there can be some glitter, but these just go on so smoothly, and they really do remind me of those like kind of MAC loose pigments, the way that they apply. That being said, I do really love them. I think especially this amethyst shade that I have all over my lid today is really, really beautiful. It kind of has this like extra dimension to it, which is really unique and different, which I also find in the Moonstone shade. I think Moonstone also has that kind of iridescent sort of shift to it. I haven't noticed as I've been wearing them any kind of creasing or flaking with these shadows. I think they apply beautifully and they last a really long time on the eye. I did, of course, wear glitter glue. I always go in with glitter glue before I put on any kind of like metallic shimmer, glitter, any of that. I always am going to go in with a glitter glue, and I do think they apply both nicely with a brush as well as with my finger. Like today, I went ahead and tapped down with my finger first and then cleaned up the edges with the brush, but I still felt like it worked well with the brush. Finally, let's talk about the diamond shades. So we have Garnet, Peridot, and Diamond are the 3 diamond shades. Now these would probably be what you would expect for a more metallic kind of look. Here are these 3 swatched right there. Now, I know that Ashani kind of described especially Garnet and Peridot as being a little bit more chunky in like their glitter, but I don't necessarily notice that on the eye. Yes, maybe when you pick them up on your fingers, you kind of notice a little bit of chunk or a little bit of flake, but that does not translate on the eyes at all. I actually think they go on really nicely, both with your finger, and I think you can pick them up, and if you want to apply them wet with a brush, I think that would work well too. On the website, it does say that these perform best with your finger, but I didn't have any trouble working with them, and I think a wet brush would be just fine as well if you want to do a little more like detail work. And they are just so intense. Like the shine and like the glitter in these is really, really beautiful. I like them. I think they're so... I mean, you can kind of see, especially with Peridot, there's a little bit of like, I don't know if it's coming off on camera at all, but in person you see like the main base color, but then there's like sort of like a lighter green kind of sparkle that's in it, which is so unlike any other shade that I have seen before. So overall, I have to say I really do enjoy this palette. I recommend it. This is probably not going to be I don't know if this would be my everyday palette, because in order to do you can do a fully cohesive look with this palette. I do think that's completely possible. It's just not maybe necessarily my go-to types of look, but I think having this in my collection will enhance my collection because, you know, you can just pair like these matte shades, like this lapis shade, aquamarine, jade. They're so unusual, and I don't really have any other colors like these in my collection, so having this is really going to enhance any other look that I'm going to do. The shimmers are beautiful, and the diamond finishes are really, really something special. So what do I think? Final thoughts. So it is a little bit pricey. It is $48 for 12 shades. I mean, this is an indie brand. Obviously, a lot of work and thought went into this. I mean, just the whole concept of the palette, of being all these different gems and like playing with these jewel tones, but not necessarily the traditional jewel tones, I think is very, very interesting, and I think it creates something that is just a it's such a statement piece, you know? Like, you have your statement piece of jewelry. This is like a statement piece palette. The formulas for all 3 different shadow types are really, really nice, and you can tell just a lot of like heart and soul and thought went into creating this like very unique, cohesive palette. So I think it's really great. I would definitely recommend it. If you haven't tried Rani Cosmetics, I think I would definitely suggest picking this up. I think it's beautiful. I love it, and I'm really happy that I added to my collection, and I'm really curious, are you guys gonna try it out? Are you gonna pick it up? I wanna know what your thoughts are on this. You've heard my thoughts, now I wanna hear your thoughts. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to give it a thumbs up. It lets me know you like it so I can keep doing videos like this in the future. And if you have not yet subscribed, now is your chance. Hit the subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you'll be notified every single time that I upload a new video. I hope your day is fantastic. Thank you again for watching. I love you all. Bye!